Hi guys, Kim here, design team member with Swirly Doos Kit Club. What I've got for you today is a tutorial on the Prima Rust Paste. We got this in a technique kit about a month ago, and I'm going to go through the three rust pastes that you get in the set. One's a light, one's a medium, and one's a dark color. You get a rust paste yellow in the package. You get a rust paste orange color, and you also get a rust paste brown that's in the kit. And I'll open these up and show you the texture of them, and we'll go through and use some of them. I'm going to use them on some clay pieces that I made with the Prima molds and the Prima clay to show you how to do that. And on one of them I added some of the texture paste white sand that we also got into a kit just to give it some extra dimension. And I'm also going to use some Prima Color Bloom spray in soft teal. So first we're going to go through the rust paste. When you open them up, you're going to see they look a little different. The yellow one is a little more watery than the others. It's got a little bit of grit to it, but this seems to be the lighter one, not only in color but also in texture. The orange one, you'll see it's going to be a little bit thicker, and it's got a little more grit to it than the yellow, as you can see there. So it's a little bit thicker, a little bit grittier, a little more texture to it. And then with the brown, that one seems to be just a little bit thicker than the orange and a little grittier as well, as you can see there. So again, the yellow is a little more liquid, and the other two are more textured, more dense. And so keep that in mind when you're using these. The yellow is gonna spread a lot easier and a lot more than the other two. And you're probably going to have to use a little bit less of the yellow just because it's so much thinner. So I'm going to take a piece, and we're just going to color this piece. Let's get started. And I'm going to start with the lightest color first. Some may start with some of the other colors, but I like to start with the lighter color first. And then I'm just going to go ahead and layer the colors to my liking. And again, just going back and forth. I'm using the same brush, really not worried about contamination, but just going through and layering my colors just to get a good feel for how I want it to look. And so about halfway through, this is where I'm at now, kind of getting a good feel for it. So I'm just going to go back and finish, and make sure you hit all your edges too, because you never know what's going to show on your piece. And again, just going back, layering my colors. A little orange here, a little yellow there. And now that's where I'm at, and I'm going to continue to work with this a little bit more. The brown is really dark, so once I get that brown on, I go back over, and I go back over it with some orange, with some yellows, just till I get it to the way I like it. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's just to your taste and to how you like it. And so I'm kind of okay with the way that it looks right now, but what I want to do is I want to add something a little different to it. So what I'm going to do is take the soft teal color bloom, and I'm going to use that here and there to give it that kind of patina color to it. And I'm just going to mix that again with the rust paste and keep adding and blending, and just make sure you blend it really well with your brush to kind of give it that really blended look. So you can see where it kind of looks like it oxidized in some places. And so I like the way that looks. And this is still wet. It's going to get a little bit darker once it dries. And so I'm happy with the way this piece looks right now. I didn't want that patina look all over. I just kind of wanted it in some of the grooves there. So we're going to sit this to the side and let that dry. And the next piece we're going to work on, what I did was I took the back of it and I added some of the texture paste and the white sand to let that dry. And I chose to use the back of it versus the front because the back of it was nice and flat, and so I wouldn't have to worry about that texture paste getting in the grooves. And it's still not completely dry, but it's dry enough to the touch so you can go ahead and work on it. And by using that texture paste, all I'm doing is adding another layer of texture to the rust paste, so it'll give it again more dimension. So now that I've got the yellow on, a little bit of orange, you can see that extra dimension. And again, just layering the product on to my liking. And that's all you're really going to do with it. You're just going to continue to layer it on to your liking and mixing your colors the way you want it to look. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. And so you're just going to keep layering with the orange and the brown and the yellows. And again, I'm adding some of the soft teal to it this time. And make sure you blend it really well, especially if you're going to add that soft teal to get that patina look. And so now I'm happy with it, but as you can see that extra texture on there from the texture paste, the white sand. So it gave it a lot more dimension over the back of it. And I like the way it feels. It feels really, really gritty if you touch it. So we're going to set that aside to dry. And then we've got one more piece that I'm actually going to work on. Again, it's just another clay piece, but this one's got a lot of grooves in it. And so we're going to do this one, and just to show you a way to make sure you get inside all your grooves. Actually here I'm using different brushes because I want to make sure that I can get really inside the groove. So I'm using a little bit of smaller brushes. And I'm going to make sure I get my edges covered as well. Don't forget about your edges, ladies, because remember, you're putting these on projects. You may be putting them on canvases and they're going to stand up and your edges are going to show. So don't forget to cover your edges, and then sometimes you may have to cover the back. But again, I'm layering it on there. Got a little heavy-handed with the yellow for me, so I'm going to go back in with some of the darker color with the brown, and then with the orange, and then maybe come back again and highlight some of those raised areas with the yellow. Again, remember that yellow is a lot thinner than the other two, so it's easy to get a little carried away with the yellow without actually meaning to. But there's the last piece. And I like the extra yellow on it on this particular piece. So I'm actually happy with the way that this piece came out. So give the rust paste a try. I really had a good time working with it. It's a lot of fun. It's very limitless as to what you can do with it and what you can use on it and the things that you can use with it. Like I chose to use the texture paste and the color bloom, but there's so many different things that you can use with the rust paste. So give it a try. If you like what you've seen here, please stop by our website at www.swirlydoos.com. Check out all our kits. Again, this was a technique kit that we got a month or so ago. Our kits tend to sell out pretty quickly, so if you like the kits, please click on the link that says join our club, mention my name.